Hello and welcome to How I Play, my level 115 wizard. So we're going to jump in and talk about spells. We're going to talk about the rotation I use using my Multibind. We'll talk about gear and what gear to focus on, and maybe we'll talk about AAs. We're at 115, we're no longer getting auto grant, so where am I going to put my points next? So first up, we got spells, and the first spell I have is Twin Cast. This is probably one of the biggest DPS spells we have, as it allows any of our spells to be twin cast, i.e. cast twice when we cast it once, and with each one having a chance to crit separately. You can see there at twin cast, and it was a critical twin cast. Kind of nice. Next up, we have what is that? Thaumaturgic Vortex. So this is our current level Vortex spell. The Vortex spell is, I believe it's our synergy spell. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I already had selected. So this is our synergy spell. We want to cast this as much as possible because this will give us a 100% chance to trigger Evoker Synergy on everybody in the group, which allows one non-fire direct damage spell or damage over time spell to do an extra 90,000 damage. Now that is delicious. So that is kind of nice, right? Now, what would you want to do with that, right? What would you want to do with that? And I'm just switching these because I was messing around. So you want to have this up pretty much on cooldown, so it's like the first spell in my rotation here, but it is just very important, so keep that in mind as we talk about some of this other stuff. Next up, I have Thrice Woven Radiance, which weaves a bolt of mana into crackling energy, inflicting 30,000 magic damage. It has a 25% chance to enhance my future spells, and a 1% chance to weaken my spells. So if we cast this, number 3, and we got a twin cast out. Do I have twin cast up right now? I do have twin cast. So I do have twin cast, so every spell I cast is going to be twin cast right now. 160,000 out of that if we cast it again. 168,000, jeez. There we go. We got Thrice Woven Power. Now, that increases our next spell that does at least 100 damage by 80 to 185 damage right now. So, let's do one right here. This one right here. Dargon's Fire. You can see there, we twin cast it, along with all the other nonsense that's going on with that. So, definitely a lot of damage can come from that. So I have that in my multi-bind rotation here. It's kind of towards the end, but it's not as important. Next up, I have Jaga. This is the current level stun. It's a near instant cast at a 0.6 cast time. It does 12,000 damage, but it stuns for 8 seconds. Kind of nice. Like if we cast it, it's an 18-second recast, but you know, it did 200. A lucky critical twin cast. It did 222,000 damage plus 77 damage, 7,000 damage. Jeez, I can't even say numbers right now. With twin cast up, so it's a lot of damage coming out there from that. And then I don't even know where that one comes from. Next, we have Ethereal Brand, which is just a huge nuke, right? This is a 1.9 second cast time, 50,000 damage nuke. Now, let's cast this thing real quick. Ethereal Brand. It's going to get twin cast, right? So you can see here, Ethereal Brand, 659,000 critical. My weapon crit, and then Arcane Fusion, that crit for 3 million. Jeez. And then Ethereal Brown, the twin cast did another 679,000. These numbers are huge, right? These are big numbers, right? Let's get rid of twin cast so we can kind of see some of this as we do this, right? Next up we have Dargon's Fire. Now I have this at the very end of my rotation. It's a 1.5 second cast time. This is more or less a filler spell for me. It is not as important to me as the other spells. I'm mostly focused on getting the most damage I can get out in the shortest amount of time. At the moment, my group kills things so fast that if I'm sitting here casting a 3-second spell, the mob's dead before I even can do anything. So I have a lot of more closer to instant cast spells than I probably would have otherwise. And as we level up into the Outer Brood, mobs will live longer, obviously, and we will have the opportunity to switch some of this up. But right now, I'm liking this. This is my filler last resort spell. So if everything else is down, that'll get cast. We have Chaos Inferno. So this is a 0.6 second cast time. 9,200 to 25,000 nuke. Now, it's a gamble, but it is near instant cast, right? So you see how fast that was. And then it crit for 175,000. So it's the same, like you could say it's, worthless, but it's quick casting and I like that. Next up, we have Composite Fire. This is our current level progression spell from Claws of Avation. This is a crazy spell. So it will cast this Composite Fire 1 while simultaneously causing the target to forget 25% of what I've already done to it. So a powerful burn your target for 121,000 damage nuke and inspires 105 less hatred, right? So let's go ahead and just cast this with nothing up at the moment. I don't even know. Oh, hold on. Let's see if we can twin cast this. I'm not even sure if I can. So twin cast is up. Let's hit this. And so Composite Fire, 1 million damage from a lucky critical. Pyromancy clicked off, and so that did that. And then we got the twin cast from there for another 342,000 damage. So that's what, 1.3 million damage, along with I gotta figure where this arcane infusion's coming from. Let's see here. Where is this actually coming from? Deals. Where is this coming from? So 1.3, and then we got a 3.6 million critical from Arcane Infusion. And I should know where that's from. Here it is, right here. It's an AA. This passive ability grants here level 100 and higher direct damage spells to cast that have a cast time of 3 seconds, at least 3 seconds, and a mana cost of at least 10, with a 5% chance to trigger Arcane Fusion that deals 600,000 damage. So that's a 600,000 damage crit becomes that. Now, if we look at Composite Fire here, it's a 3-second spell, 2.13. So I think as we get into the longer living mobs, this might be something of interest for us to get a little bit more out of. Dargon's Fire is also 3 seconds. Ethereal Braid is at least 3 seconds. Thrice Woven Radiance, at least 3 seconds. This is not the reduced time, right? This is the actual time. Let's see if we can crit that on there. So Radiance. I just want to make sure that I'm not talking on my ass there. So Thrice Woven Radiance, Ethereal Braid, Dargon's Fire. That one's not one of them. Let's see here. Thrice Woven. It's only a 5% chance, so it's going to be kind of rare to hit. But you can see the sheer amount of damage we're getting with this stuff. It's this one, Composite. That one I know is. Holy crap. That's a lot of damage. There we go. So I did get another Arcane Infusion critical at 3.6 million from Thrice Woven Radiance, which is a 1.7 cast time. after reduction, right? So definitely a nice little AA that I totally have overlooked. The next rank is 700,000. So the longer cast time spells are probably going to come into more play later on as we're doing this. And then we also have Cold Burst, which is a cold damage nuke. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there was a reason why I put this on my bar at some point in time. And I can't remember what it was at the moment. I think it had something to do with one of the synergies that I'm trying to make sure I'm executing on cooldown, right? Let's do Vortex right there, Invoker Synergy, non-fire, right? So I think originally it was to trigger the Evoker Synergy on myself because I had mostly fire stuff. But it's still not a bad nuke in its own. It's 19,000 damage, 25% chance to next spell to have an extra 4,400 on there. But deal damage to me, that's what, 2,000 health a tick. And I have 8,800 health regen right now via all the stuff that I got going on in my group. So it's, you know, there's another thing about the spell I like. It's instant cast. So I do have it. I think that's why I had these switched around, because I didn't want it to twin cast. I wanted everything else to twin cast. Yeah. That's what I was messing around with. So this is, you know, it's a instant cast, almost always up kind of thing. You see there, twin cast, 294k, 269, Evoker Synergy, an extra 90,000. So definitely interesting stuff there, and you get the chill that lowers my damage. But yeah. And then I have Aegis of the Crystal Wing, which is our current level rune that gives us 35 mana regen. I keep that up as much as possible. I don't get hit as much as you'd think, but somehow it wears off. And then we also have Quiet Harvest. I used to have Gambit in here, and Gambit is nice. I was using that for a while. I decided not to use that anymore just because I was not able to execute it enough times for it to matter. So I switched to Quiet Harvest so that I can harvest and get mana back when I need it on demand a little easier. And then after that, I just have my portal to Plane of Knowledge, and then my portal to my current, whatever I'm fighting in. Skyfire is near Gorowin, where the next video for the Hobbs and Friends series will be. So that's kind of how that all works out there. So other than that, I do not switch spells. You know, a lot of my characters have the little one click, you switch it to a spell. I have 2 extra spell slots that I can do whatever I want with. Technically, I could probably get rid of Aegis and put that on a button, but I haven't needed to yet. At least the way I'm doing this right now, so it is what it is. I do keep the Aegis of the Crystal Wing up, improve familiar up at all times, and I do keep my personal familiar up at all times, and those all add and contribute to my mana regen, which is currently 1066. Wish it was a little higher, but it is what it is. Now, heroic stat wise, I do go for heroic intelligence when I do grab things. Like here's heroic intelligence there. I don't think this character has very good gear at the moment. He's still wearing Conflagrant and a few things that are a little bit better, but not much. Conflagrant, 2-handed staff, you know, it's just, I haven't really gone all out on him or anything like that. Now, I do have a Valium Conveyor source for my power source. You can buy these from the Overseer merchant in Plane of Knowledge, and it just gives us a little bit more heroic intelligence and some mana regen. Now, you can increase the stats on all this by increasing your purity level. Obviously, I'm in Snowbound, and so I have not put any gemstones in it, but I do have like these gemstones here that will add 35 purity or 25 purity depending on the item and stuff like that. Now, Raid Loot has higher purity, so you get more stats out of all that, but it is what it is. So my gear is mediocre, but let's talk about my multibind, and we can go from there. So if you don't know what a multibind is, watch out my other videos because I talk about it constantly. But a multibind is where you take one of these hotbars and you bind every single button to the same key. In my case, 5, right? So my hotbars 6 and 11 are all bound to 5, right? You can see here, they all say 5 on all the buttons. Now, if I, right click my assist button here, it goes to X target 19. My tank Hobbs has X target 19, this target dummy here targeted. So I'm going to automatically assist there when I push the button. I don't need to pause or anything like that. It's near instant. Near instant. I then do a pet swarm and a pet attack. Now, I don't know if pet attack is necessary, but I do it anyway. And pet swarm is necessary for the Call of Zul. This is our 2-sword summoned swarm pet that goes out and just thwacks away at a mob for a little bit. It's okay damage. I do it on cooldown just to have it out there. I believe it counts for the pets on attacking a target for the mage nuke. So, every little bit helps, right? And then I also have a summoned mod rod from my mage that I use on cooldown via the button here in the use item. Now, if I take that item, and I put it here in my multibind, I've had it mess it up. Having it inside of a macro like this does not seem to mess it up, but your mileage may vary, could be lag related or something like that. So the first thing I do is I do concussion. Now, concussion is it's interesting because it casts our concussion spell. You notice I don't have it on my bar anymore. I used to have it, now I don't. So initially, what this does is it makes him forget 10% of the hatred for us, right? At the very beginning of a fight, that's not going to do anything for us because it is going to be down. But the recourse that it puts on here has a chance to decrease the generated by our next 3 spells. So that is kind of the big use for this in a longer fight. If there's a fight that lasts for over a minute, it'll get recast again during the rotation, but if not, it will be available on the next mob, right? So nuke, concussion, nuke, dead, nuke, concussion, right? So it'll kind of work out like that in most cases. And it's not a real big deal on most experienced mobs because I'm not going to lose aggro to a Shadow Knight if I even tried. Even with Mana Burn, I don't lose aggro. But it is, it's there. Now I have the rotation is Vortex. I want that always. Then I have Cold Burst, Twin Cast, and then Composite Fire, Ethereal Brand, Telejaga, Thrice Woven Radiance, Chaos Inferno, and Dargon's Fire. Now, Dargon's Fire has a chance not to get cast unless it's a long fight. There's also some variants from the, where is he at? The Bard here. So if the Bard does QuickTime, this is where it gets a little weird. If the Bard does QuickTime and reduces the casting time on spells by 0.5 and later on 0.7, there is a chance that I will be able to cast it, right? So it's the last, if it goes off, it goes off, right? I'm not going to be concerned if it doesn't, but if it does, it's nice, right? And so that's kind of how that works, right? Because if I just start pushing 5 right now, that's all I'm pushing. Wait, actually, let me just talk about Force of Ice, right? Force of Ice, Force of Will, Force of Flame. These are all AA nukes that do 28,000 each, right? One for Fire, Ice, and Cold, right? And then the Summon Pet. So basic stuff. If you watched any of the previous videos, everything is the same. The rotations change slightly, but not much. Now I'm just hitting 5. So we got Vortex, all the AAs activated, and then Composite Fire, Ethereal Brand, makes you one right here, and then Telejaga Brand is back up. Radiance gets cast. And then we're at Vortex. And then Brand again. And then Thrice Woven. And Brand. You can see. Telejaga. Radiance. And Vortex again. So you can see these last two they don't get hit as much, right? Now if we go over here to the Bard, click QuickTime, and then start clicking here. So things are casting slightly faster, right? For a few minutes. We got Radiance now. Let's get these other ones. Composite Fire. And then that one. We'll see where we at here. Brand. Should be on Chaos. Nope. Thrice Woven pop back up. Brand. Teldaga. Brand. Come on now. Thrice Woven. Vortex. And Brand. So maybe it's not going to case. I was doing testing before and I hit them, but I don't know. Maybe I'm pushing the button differently. Brand. And we're not doing DPS checks, DPS in this. In the next video after this will be all the characters together. We're gonna go do Zlandikar, and we'll see there the full extent of his DPS. We'll do full burns on Zlandikar, and we'll see who wins the DPS race. Place your bets now if you which one you think, but it does not look like it's going to hit it, but literally it hit it when right before I started recording. So I must maybe I switched something else around in different orders when I was messing around here. But it doesn't really matter. It's there just in case, because these are the predominant damage spells anyway. Chaos Inferno is like the random whiz, and then the Dargon's Fire is my kind of just whatever spell. So it is what it is there. So unfortunate. Now that's my rotation. That's what I do there. That's all I cast. That's all I do. Now let's talk about gear. So for the wizard, the most important pieces of gear are the arms, the helmet, and I think it's the gloves. Gloves, yes, there we go. So arms does fire damage, helmet does magic damage, and the gloves do cold damage. These are the most important pieces of gear to increase your damage, right? Now there's other things that help with other things, right? Like I think the ring gives you longer range, right? Let's see here, which one is this? One of these gives us faster casting. I don't remember which piece that is. Belt, maybe? The belt is another actually important one here. This is a threaded Valiant belt. This is probably his best piece of gear. This belt, every time you cast, it has a chance to cast. This is the healing belt. I got the wrong belt on him. There's another belt that does whatever. This is this is probably on my shaman. I think they got swapped when I was mailing them around. This one, when you cast a healing spell, it'll do some stuff like that. Maybe it does it with, like, it says it's like two different things, so I don't know. But it adds 5,000 damage to your stuff, so whatever. I'm exhausted. Let's see here. One of these. So this one increases range. This one increases range. The mask and the ring do the same thing. Duration. That's healing. Duration. Yeah, I don't know which item gives faster cast times. Oh, there it is. It's the boots. The boots give faster cast times. They are 21%. So The lower you can get the cast time, the more spells you can cast, right? And I think that's about it. Like the robe has a nice ability, right? Construct a complex weave, replenishing 3,800 mana every 6 seconds for 30 seconds. So you get a nice, what is that? 30 or 5 times 3,800 mana pack. Pretty nice. So my burns, I do silent casting. It's the same burn I've been doing this whole time since we started doing this character. Frenzied Devastation, which increases our damage. Fury of the Gods, which increases our damage. Fury, Ward of Destruction, which is an AoE ward that does damage. Spire of the Arcanium, which is just another thing that increases our critical damage and damage. Forceful Rejuvenation just resets any spells that are on cooldown except Twin Cast. The Robe, which we just talked about. Then in the second button here, we have Arcane Fury, which, again, increases the base damage of our spells. You'll see like a trend, right? And then Arcane Destruction, which increases the mana of our spells, while increasing the chance these will deal a critical damage by 60%, and then it'll absorb some damage too. And then finally, Improved Twin Cast, which will give us another 20 Twin Casts. So that's very nice there. Now, I do have a mana burn button. So this will target our target. It'll do Mind Crash. So Mind Crash will reduce our target's hatred by 90,000. So if it already hates us when we do this, this will kind of solve that problem there. Then we're going to go into Mana Burn. I'll go ahead and activate this real quick and you can see it. So Mana Burn, Mind Crash, Mana Burn, and you can see we got, what is that, 10 million damage? Yeah, 10 million damage on that. It's a locked damage, I don't know. I guess it's a maximum amount of damage it'll do. So it's like that, and then there is a Mana Burn debuff that gets put on here that allows non-life tap direct damage spells to do more damage, an extra 25,000 damage. So if we do Vortex on him there, he gets something. I don't know where, I can't see where that actually comes from, but do more damage after a Mana Burn. So definitely good there. And then right after that, I don't know why these are in this order, but right after we Mana Burn, we Arcane Whisper, which then lowers our aggro by 180 points. And then another 10% on top of that. So if for some reason my nuke for 10 million pisses off the mob enough, I will get rid of that aggro really quick. Now, you know, was this 3.5 million turns into 10 million. 4.2 is going to turn into, I would say, like 15 to 20 million as we go up in ranks here. So this is, you know, a significant chunk of damage, and it does take a significant chunk of my mana. So definitely a nice spell to have in our arsenal. But I think that's that. Now let's talk about focuses and AAs in general. My target path is going to make sure at 120 we have our synergy updated. So that'll be the first one we buy at 120. Now after that, I am going to focus on the spells I use to do damage, right? So probably the vortexes I might put in there because I'm casting that a lot. Might as well get a little extra damage out of that. And then all these other ones. Thrice Woven, the Stun, Ethereal, I'm not sure which one it is. Blast, maybe it's Ethereal Blast? Skyrim? No, here it is. Ethereal Skyblaze is the one, and it's 31 extra 31%. You want to get that to the next one for another 3% at 120. So it just depends on how you do that. My focus is on the damage ones I do first, right? I don't do any of the AE stuff. I don't do any other nonsense, so I don't have to buy those right away, but eventually, you know, when you're done, you would buy those. I would pick up all the burn stuff. And this arcane fusion that we've seen in this video alone is very important. So I would definitely put more points into that to get that to proc as much as possible. I do use Force of Flame, Ice, and Will, so I'd get those up as soon as possible. And just anything else, like, you know, just looking through here, anything else. I like passive abilities more than active abilities, but I do pretty much have everything on my bar at the moment. So I'm pretty good in that. Like, here's passive ability increases damage by your spells by 7,000. There's 20 ranks of that I don't have. And then look at that, because add 300 points of damage to my next spell. So things like that you want to grab and you just increment all those up. I focus, like on this character, I'm going to focus purely on damage. I am not going to do anything defensive unless I have to. It's going to be pure more damage, more damage, more damage. Now, Destructive Fury is going to give us more criticals. Improved Twin Cast will give us, I think, another Twin Cast spell. Sympathetic Amplification, you'll notice in my spell damage here, Hammer of Magic. That is a proc from my two-hander here. So, you know, that's kind of useful. Like, if I'm not meleeing, you know, it's kind of useful to have that, you know, whenever I cast, it procs that. Let's see here. Quick damage, you're probably going to want to get the next rank of that at what level? 121. Yeah, at 121. I think that one's free, though. It looks like it's a 0 cost, and it just reduces the damage or the cast time on some of these spells or something like that. So definitely worth getting. And that's all that. We already got all those. And then after I get all the damage stuff, I will then come back into the general tab, get durability, natural agility, combat agility, natural durability, general sturdiness, combat stability. I'll pick up all those and anything else that I feel like I need. And then I'll make another cycle through the focuses. Let me see if there's anything there we need to grab that we missed that we need, you know, just kind of going through here. Doesn't look like there's a lot of AAs, but some of these can probably add up to a lot after you go through everything here. So definitely just read the ones and make sure you have the ones that you use with your spells. But gear wise, you'd probably want to go with Velium Threaded is probably the best gear you can get at 115. Now, waxing from TOL, Terror of Lucklin, is probably really competitive with it, but for me, at least on my mage, it was easier to take Velium Threaded from something else. I don't have any other wizards, so this character's pretty much making all his gear as we go, so I haven't given him anything. I don't plan on giving him anything else at the moment, but that's how I play my wizard. I'm happy with it. So anecdotally, right, I grouped with a 125 raid wizard, and the amount of damage she was doing was mind-blowing. Like, she was out DPSing a warrior, a beast lord. I'm playing a monk. Obviously she out DPS'd me because I was a lower level, but it was just absolutely insane watching this wizard play, and it was a real eye-opener to the wizard class, and has really given me more incentive to keep going with the wizard here. Now, like in the Outer Brood, right? Like, a lot of the mobs are based on HP locking, right? Like, you get them below 25%, they spawn smads, right? And I've been using 3 mages in my upper tier group, and I've been having a lot of issues because the mage pets, just like, as soon as the mob HP unlocks, they go knock it back down while I'm still fighting ads. They're not really they're a little bit painful to control at times, and I feel that wizards might be the best alternative to mages in some cases. So this might be something we'll look at long term, but right now I'm just gonna stick with the one wizard, and he's doing fantastic in this group. We'll see what his damage is when we kill Zelandikar in the next video. with everybody. We'll see all that, and then maybe we'll run around in Western Waste and see if there's any mobs we can kill there while we're doing that also. But thank you very much for watching, and please have a fantastic day.